August 5th, 1945. In Hiroshima, 350,000 people wake up to what seems like just another Monday. Another day of war, another day of rationing and uncertainty, another day of hoping the conflict will end soon. They have no idea this is their last day of normal, their last day of peace. For half of them, their last day alive. In exactly 24 hours, at 8:15 in the morning, the world will change forever. A single bomb will kill 80,000 people in 43 seconds. The term atomic age will enter human vocabulary. And this city, with its 7 rivers and ancient bridges, will cease to exist. But today, on August 5th, absolutely no one in Hiroshima knows this is coming. That is what makes this story so devastating. Not just what happened the next day, but the cruel innocence of this day. The last day before everything changed. This is the documented story, based on survivor testimony and historical records, of the final 24 hours of normalcy in Hiroshima. The last day people lived without knowing the future that awaited them. Let me tell you about some of them. Reverend Kiyoshi Tanimoto is a 36-year-old Methodist pastor. He was born in Hiroshima but educated in the United States, and he speaks fluent English. On this August morning, he is worried. Not about atomic bombs, which do not exist in his vocabulary. He is worried about the possibility of an American invasion, worried about protecting his church, worried about his family's safety. He has made a decision. Tomorrow morning, he will help a parishioner move some belongings to Koi, a suburb a few miles outside the city center. It seems like a good idea to get some church valuables away from the urban area, just in case. This simple decision will save his life. Tomorrow at 8:15, while the city center is obliterated, Reverend Tanimoto will be in that suburb, far enough away to survive. He will spend the rest of the day pulling bodies from the rivers, searching desperately for his wife and daughter among the burned and dying, witnessing horrors that will haunt him for the remaining 41 years of his life. But today, he is just a pastor making prudent plans. He has no idea he is accidentally scheduling his own survival. Dr. Terufumi Sasaki is 25 years old, a young surgeon at the Hiroshima Red Cross Hospital. He is ambitious, hardworking, and committed to his patients. On this Monday morning, he makes his rounds, examining routine cases. An appendicitis patient recovering well, a pneumonia case showing improvement, a scheduled gallbladder surgery for the afternoon. In his medical work, he has done dozens of times. Routine, professional, nothing remarkable. The hospital where he works is a modern concrete structure built to withstand earthquakes. It is located 1,650 meters from what will become known as Ground Zero. Tomorrow morning, Dr. Sasaki will be in a hospital corridor when the world explodes. The building will partially survive. He will survive. But in the immediate aftermath of the hospital's 30 doctors, only 6 will be alive and able to work. Of 200 nurses, 180 will be dead or critically wounded. And tens of thousands of injured people will begin flooding toward the hospital, burned beyond recognition, begging for help. Dr. Sasaki will operate continuously for 19 hours without rest, without adequate anesthesia, without proper supplies, making impossible decisions about who might be saved and who is beyond help. He will perform amputations with kitchen knives. He will bandage wounds with torn strips of cloth. He will watch people die because he has no medicine to save them. Tomorrow night, he will finally collapse from exhaustion, his hands covered in blood, having done everything humanly possible and knowing it was nowhere near enough. But today, he is just a young doctor doing his rounds, thinking about his surgical schedule, completely unaware that in 24 hours, he will face medical horrors beyond imagination. Hatsuyo Nakamura is 41 years old, a widow raising 3 children alone. Her husband, a sergeant in the Imperial Army, was killed fighting in Singapore 2 years ago. Since his death, she has struggled every single day to feed her children. Toshio is 10 years old, Yaiko is 8, Mieko is 5. Money is desperately scarce. Last week, Hatsuyo made a painful decision. She sold her most precious possession, her mother's wedding kimono, a beautiful silk garment that represented family heritage and better times. She sold it for a handful of yen, barely enough to buy rice for a week. On this Monday morning, she's doing piecework sewing to earn a few extra coins. The children play in the small yard behind their modest house. She can hear their voices, their occasional arguments, their laughter. It is the sound of normal childhood, and despite all their hardships, it brings her comfort. She has no idea she is hearing these sounds for the last time. Tomorrow morning, at 8:15, Hatsuyo will be in her kitchen preparing breakfast when the windows explode inward. In that instant, she will throw herself over her children as the house collapses around them. Her body will shield them from falling debris. They will all survive the initial blast, pulled from the rubble by neighbors, injured but alive. But survival will be complicated. Toshio, her 10-year-old son, playing in the yard today, will begin showing strange symptoms within weeks: bleeding gums, hair loss, mysterious bruising. The doctors will be baffled at first, but eventually they will understand. Radiation sickness, leukemia. Toshio will die 11 months after the bomb, his body destroyed by something invisible, something the Nakamura family did not even know existed on this August day. But today, Hatsuyo just worries about money for rice. She just listens to her children play. She just tries to make it through another difficult day of wartime poverty. She has no idea that tomorrow, poverty will be the least of her concerns. Dr. Masakazu Fuji is 50 years old and relatively prosperous. He owns a private clinic built on stilts over the Kyo River, one of the 7 rivers that flow through Hiroshima, and give the city its nickname, the City of Waters. Every morning, Dr. Fuji has a pleasant routine. He sits on his clinic veranda overlooking the river, drinks green tea, and reads the newspaper before patients arrive. It is his moment of peace, watching the water flow, feeling the morning breeze, gathering his thoughts for the day ahead. On this particular morning, the newspaper headline speaks of glorious resistance and the invincible Japanese spirit. Dr. Fuji, a practical man who has treated too many war wounded, sighs as he reads it. He is tired of the war, tired of the propaganda, tired of the suffering. He just wants it to end. He has no idea how it will end. Tomorrow morning, at exactly 8:15, Dr. Fuji will be sitting in this exact spot, in this exact chair, having his morning tea. The river below him will instantly turn to steam. The clinic will collapse. He will be thrown into the water with both legs shattered, unable to move, trapped beneath burning debris as the world around him disintegrates. He will survive, pulled from the water by neighbors, but he will never properly practice medicine again. The physical trauma will cripple him. The psychological trauma will be worse. For the remaining 40 years of his life, he will suffer from what we now call post-traumatic stress disorder, forever haunted by those 43 seconds when his peaceful morning became hell. But today, sitting on his veranda with his tea, watching the gentle river, he just hopes the war will end soon. He has no idea it will end in a way no human being has ever imagined. These are just 4 people. 4 stories out of 350,000. But their stories are documented, preserved, known to us through their own testimony and the reporting of journalist John Hersey, who interviewed survivors and wrote the book that would tell the world what really happened in Hiroshima. And what makes their stories so heartbreaking is not just what happened to them tomorrow. It is the ordinariness of today. The city of Hiroshima on August 5th is hot. The temperature reaches 90 degrees Fahrenheit by mid-morning and stays there all day. People complain about the heat. Children swim in the rivers to cool off, their laughter echoing across the water. Tomorrow, those rivers will be filled with corpses, thousands of people who jumped in to escape the flames and drowned instead. But today, the rivers are just a relief from summer heat. The streetcars run their routes through the city, the famous yellow trams always packed with workers heading to and from the Mitsubishi factories. Some of these streetcars will survive tomorrow's blast, deformed and melted, but structurally intact. Decades later, some will still be in operation, silent witnesses to that day. But today, they are just transportation, crowded and hot and ordinary. At the Central Market, women shop for what little food is available. Wartime rationing means rice is scarce, vegetables are limited, meat is rare. A woman named Akiko Takakura, 20 years old, goes to the market with her mother. They find squash. The mother complains about the price but buys it anyway. That night, they cook it for dinner. Decades later, Akiko will remember it as the last meal she ever ate with her mother. But today, it is just dinner. Across the city, 40,000 children attend school or participate in mandatory labor service. The Japanese government has mobilized students for war work. Thousands of teenagers spend their days demolishing houses to create firebreak zones, open areas designed to prevent the spread of fires during bombing raids. One of these students is a 14-year-old boy named Eizo Nomura. He's excited about his work. He feels important, helping his country. His mother packed him extra rice for lunch because she worries he works too hard in the heat. Tonight, they will have dinner together. She will ask about his day. He will tell her about the houses they demolished, about his friends, about the work. It will be the last conversation they ever have. Tomorrow morning at 8:15, Eizo will be working in one of those open firebreak zones, 600 meters from ground zero. Of the 8,000 students mobilized for work that morning, 6,000 will die instantly. Eizo will become a shadow, his body's outline literally burned into a concrete wall by the flash of light, a permanent silhouette that will remain visible for years. But today, he is just an excited teenager, feeling grown up and useful, eating the extra rice his mother packed, laughing with his friends. This is what makes August 5th so unbearably sad. Everyone is just living, just going through normal routines, just dealing with ordinary problems like heat and hunger and work and worry, just being human, and none of them know. While Hiroshima goes about its ordinary day, something extraordinary is happening 1,500 miles to the south. Tinian Island, a small speck in the Pacific Ocean, has been transformed into the largest air base in the world. The island is crowded with American servicemen, mechanics, pilots, ground crews. Dozens of B-29 bombers take off every day to bomb Japanese cities. The crews are experienced. They have flown many missions. The war has been going on so long that bombing runs have become almost routine. But today is different. One particular B-29 is receiving special attention. The aircraft is called Enola Gay, named after the mother of its pilot, Colonel Paul Tibbets. The plane has been extensively modified. The bomb bay has been reconfigured. Everything about this mission is unusual, and the crew knows it, though they do not know exactly why. In the early afternoon, Tinian time, the weapon is loaded. The ground crew handles it carefully, aware they are dealing with something important. The bomb is nicknamed Little Boy. It is 10 feet long and weighs 9,700 pounds. It looks almost ordinary, like a large conventional bomb, but it is anything but ordinary. Inside that metal casing is a uranium core. Under the right conditions that will be created tomorrow morning at 8:15. That uranium will undergo a chain reaction of nuclear fission, splitting atoms in a cascade that releases energy equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT exploding simultaneously. The men loading the bomb have been told it is powerful. They have been told it might help end the war, but they have not been told exactly what it will do. They do not know about the fireball that will reach 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. They do not know about the blast wave that will travel faster than sound. They do not know that people within a kilometer of the explosion will be vaporized so completely that nothing will remain, not even bones, just shadows burned into stone. They do not know they are loading a weapon that will kill 80,000 people in less than a minute and injure 80,000 more, many of whom will die slowly over the following weeks and months. They just know it is important. They load it carefully. They do their jobs. As the afternoon progresses on Tinian, preparations intensify. The crew is briefed. They are shown photographs of their target, the city of Hiroshima. They are told to look for a distinctive T-shaped bridge, the Ioi Bridge, which will serve as the aiming point. They are warned that the flash will be extraordinarily bright and are instructed to wear protective goggles. Some of them write letters home just in case. It is what crews always do before missions, just in case. Colonel Tibbets reviews every detail. Weather reports are checked repeatedly. Forecasts indicate clear skies over Hiroshima tomorrow morning. Perfect visibility, perfect bombing conditions. Everything is ready. In Hiroshima, evening arrives. The sun sets over the 7 rivers, painting the sky orange and pink. Families eat dinner together. The meals are simple, sparse because of rationing, but families gather anyway, sharing what they have. Children are bathed and put to bed. Parents talk quietly about the war, wondering when it will end, hoping their families can survive until peace comes. Some pray to Buddha. Some pray to Shinto spirits. Christian families like the Tanemotos pray to God. They all pray for safety, for survival, for peace. None of their prayers will be answered in the way they imagine. By 9 o'clock, most of the city is dark. Blackout regulations are strict. Lights are extinguished. People sleep on futons rolled out on tatami floors. The summer night is hot and humid, but eventually exhaustion overcomes discomfort and the city falls quiet. 350,000 people sleep. They dream normal dreams. They do not dream of atomic fire because such a thing does not exist in their imagination. They dream of food. They dream of absent family members. They dream of the war ending. They dream of normal things. Tomorrow, many of them will never wake up. On Tinian, midnight arrives. Wake-up call for the crew of Enola Gay. The men rise from their bunks. Most of them barely slept. They dress in flight suits. They eat breakfast, though few have much appetite. The weight of something important hangs over everything, though they still do not fully understand what that something is. At 2:45 in the morning, Tinian time, which is 3:45 in Hiroshima, the Enola Gay rolls down the runway. The plane is heavily loaded, heavier than it has ever been. The crew worries briefly that the runway might not be long enough, but the plane lifts off, slowly struggling into the dark sky. Course is set for Hiroshima. Flight time approximately 6 hours. Estimated time over target, 8:15 in the morning. In Hiroshima, the city sleeps on. A few people are awake. Night shift workers at factories, doctors on call at hospitals. Insomniacs unable to sleep in the heat. But most people sleep peacefully, unaware that death is flying toward them at 300 miles per hour. At 4 in the morning in Hiroshima, the first hints of dawn appear. Early risers begin stirring. Fishermen wake to prepare their boats. Bakers light their ovens. The city slowly comes back to life. At 5:47, the sun rises. It is going to be another beautiful day. Clear skies, hot, perfect summer weather, perfect bombing weather. By 7 o'clock, the city is fully awake. Workers board streetcars. Children prepare for school and labor duty. Mothers make breakfast. Everything is routine. Everything is normal. The Enola Gay is now 1 hour from target. At 7:30, air raid sirens suddenly sound across Hiroshima. A B-29 has been spotted approaching. People react in different ways. Some head for shelters. Others, tired of false alarms, ignore the warning. The sirens have sounded so many times with nothing happening. Surely this is just another reconnaissance plane passing by. At 7:31, the all-clear signal sounds. False alarm. The plane has passed. Everyone relaxes. People come out of shelters. Children head off to school and work sites. Life continues. This all-clear signal is a death sentence for thousands. If the alarm had still been active at 8:15, if people had still been in shelters, many might have survived. But they are not in shelters. They are outside. They are at work. They are at school. They are completely exposed. By 8 o'clock, the city is in full activity. Eizo Nomura is at his demolition site with thousands of other students, working in an open area with no protection. Dr. Sasaki is in a hospital corridor, thinking about his morning rounds. Dr. Fuji is on his veranda, enjoying his tea. Mrs. Nakamura is in her kitchen, cleaning up after breakfast while her children play outside. Reverend Tanemoto is in the suburb of Koi, far from the city center, helping his friend move furniture. At 8:15, little boy will fall from the Enola Gay's bomb bay. It will take 43 seconds to fall from 31,000 feet to the preset detonation altitude of 1,900 feet above the city. 43 seconds. In those 43 seconds, the people of Hiroshima are just living, just breathing, just existing, just being human. Mrs. Nakamura is washing dishes. Dr. Fuji is sipping tea. Dr. Sasaki is walking down a hallway. Eizo is swinging a hammer. Children are sitting in classrooms. Workers are at their stations. People are just living their ordinary lives, having survived one more night of war, facing one more ordinary day. They do not know those are their last 43 seconds. They do not know the sky is falling. They do not know that in less than a minute, some of them will be dead, some will be dying, and the survivors will wish they had died too. August 5th, 1945, was the last normal day. The last day of innocence. The last day of a world where cities could not be destroyed in an instant. The last day before humanity crossed a threshold from which we can never return. 350,000 people went to bed that night, hoping for a better tomorrow, hoping the war would end soon, hoping they and their families would survive, hoping for peace. Tomorrow would bring an ending they never imagined, a peace built on ashes. But on August 5th, they still had hope. They still had normalcy. They still had life. That is what was lost. Not just the lives, though 80,000 lives lost in 43 seconds is an incomprehensible tragedy. What was lost was the innocence of that last normal day. The innocence of going to bed, not knowing that tomorrow everything would change. The innocence of living in a world where atomic weapons did not exist, where cities could not be destroyed in an instant, where 43 seconds could not divide all of human history into before and after. August 5th, 1945, the day before Hiroshima. The last day, 350,000 people lived without knowing what was coming. The last day of the old world. Remember them. Remember that day. Remember that they were just people living ordinary lives, just like us. Remember that they had no idea what tomorrow would bring. Remember them as they were, alive, human, unaware, just living their last normal day. I'm watching the past so we can understand the present. And together we remember history so we never repeat it. See you in the next era.